بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Since September 2019, the Islamic Education Trust Human Welfare Department has positively touched over 6,500 lives through its intervention program, the food aid program, the financial aid program, Qurbani meat distribution during Eid al-Adha, Widows Empowerment Program, the Orphan Care Program, and the Tree Planting Program. For this good work to continue and be sustained, we need your continuous support. Jazakumullahu khairan as we look forward to your generous donation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are welcome to our program where we discuss marriage and its contemporary realities. My name is Ibrahim Yahya, and today in this episode, inshallah, we are going to discuss more interesting issues regarding marriage. And in this episode, we are going to discuss in particular what brings joy after marriage. And I have with me to discuss the issue Sheikh Muhammad Isa.
Thank you, my brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى والأمين المجتبى نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I welcome you to this episode, the 6th episode of our series, Marriage and its Contemporary Realities. Our today's episode is all about what brings joy after marriage. Some may ask, why this topic? What brings joy after marriage? Well, it's a very, very sensitive topic, a sensitive contemporary topic and issue nowadays, because it is quite ironical that you see couples after few weeks, few months, few years of marriage, and they start experiencing conflicts, controversies between them. For a reasonable person who thinks deeply, he will know that there are things behind this confusion and conflicts and controversies. And if those things are handled at a very, very good time, most of those controversies, conflicts will not even exist, let alone leading the marriage into to an end. So many marriages that break nowadays, looking at the rate of divorce in our societies worldwide, not only in this country of ours, are because many couples do not know how to make the marital life interesting. To an extent, in some cultures, they call marriage a union of patience, or a union that is built based on patience alone. If you say marriage is built based on patience alone, it means there's nothing interesting in it. It's just a situation you found yourself. Not that it is interesting, not that there is joy in it, but we'll just bear with it the way it comes. But the true thing is that in Islam, marriage is not meant just for patience, or it's not a bitter kind of relationship between a husband and a wife, but there are many, many interesting things. And even the bitter aspect will just constitute a very, very meager percentage of the stay. There are a lot of interesting things that a husband and wife will do to make the marriage itself look very lively and very interesting. Now, we need to talk about those few things that bring joy in marriage. The first is nice statements. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the glorious Quran, وَمَثَلُ كَلِمَةٍ طَيِّبَةٍ كَشَجَرَةٍ طَيِّبَةٍ أَصْلُهَا ثَابِتٌ وَفَرْعُهَا فِي السَّمَاءِ تُؤْتِي أُكُلَهَا كُلَّ حِينٍ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهَا. He said the similitude of a nice utterance or statement. It's like a very, very nice tree that has a firm root and its branches are in the sky. تُؤْتِي أُكُلَهَا كُلَّ حِينٍ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهَا. It gives out of its fruits, always with the permission of its Lord. So a nice statement is like a tree that grows, bears branches and fruits, and it will be for a permanent purpose. Just one statement, you made it maybe 1 year ago, 2 years ago, but it keeps producing some fruits and people are benefiting, not just one person. It may not only be the person that heard it, many more other people. And at the same time, the opposite. That is, if you're not good in making good utterances, it complicates a lot of things in marital life. If we could recall, even in the Quran, when we were warned with regard to how we should be nice unto our parents, all the verses concentrated more on your utterance. فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Don't utter harsh statements unto your parents. وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. Don't shout at them, it's still utterance. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Still statement. Say nice and statements unto them. So you can see, even with regard to parents, it's all about your utterances. And even towards the end of the verses, it said, and pray for them. Kamara bayani sagira. You're praying with your utterance as well, using still your tongue to do it. So the whole thing is more of concentrated on what your tongue does. So also in marriage, what makes two couples look very happy and joyful and makes the relationship very, very everlasting and interesting and lively is because they know how to talk to one another. A very sound scholar said, فَإِنَّ النَّارَ بِالْعُدَيْنِ تَزْكَى وَإِنَّ الْحَرْبَ أَوَّلُهَا الْكَلَامُ. Certainly, even sticks, you use sticks before you lit a fire. And also a war, what we call a war, emanates from exchange of words. All the world wars you can think of is because it started from just two people talking. Then the temperature starts rising and it reaches thinking of fighting, thinking of killing one another. So also marital life. If a husband or a wife is used to harsh statements or irresponsible response, then there will be a problem in that marriage because there will be nothing interesting between the husband and wife. The second thing that brings joy in marriage is there should be plays and jokes in marriage. Unfortunately, we mix culture and religion to an extent whereby they become too interwoven that we don't know which one is the culture, which one is the religion. In Islam, a husband can play with his wife. A husband can joke with his wife. They can have sports together. They can race each other. It is in the hadith, authentic hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ raced with Aisha. The first time, she defeated him. And the second time, he defeated her. And he said, هَذِهِ بِتِلْكَ هَذِهِ بِتِلْكَ. So this stands in place of the first one, repeatedly. So now I am the overall champion. This is the Prophet ﷺ with his wife. But we are in a situation whereby you hardly see a husband that even smiles with his wife. And he said, no, it's because he is so religious that he doesn't see any need why he should smile with his wife. If he comes into the house, you see people running from this room to another, the children, as if there's gunfire coming in. Everybody's looking for where to hide. And he said, yes, this is who he's supposed to look like. And whenever his wife or his children come near him and are playing and joking, he feels they don't even know who he is, really. But this is very, very un-Islamic, my brothers and sisters. Recall that the Prophet ﷺ, even out of his jokeful mood with Aisha, he doesn't even call her Aisha. He calls her Aish. That is a stylish way of calling Aisha so that she smiles and she laughs. And this is how he has been with her throughout his life. Another thing that makes marriage very interesting is to avoid suspicion. The moment suspicion comes, and suspicion comes from shaitan. If I say something, you want to think the other way. If somebody calls me on phone, instead of you to ask me, who is that person I explained to you, you start suspecting. If a text message comes or a WhatsApp message comes particularly from an opposite sex. That is, if it's the husband, it's a female sends a WhatsApp message to him. Is it business? Is it their work, their office assignment? Is it whatever? You don't know. You conclude there's something going on between him and her. It makes marriage very, very uninteresting. And allow things to be the way they are. And if he says this is what is happening, accept it that way. Don't say I must dig into it. Let alone trying to trace his phone when he's asleep or he's in the bathroom or he mistakenly left it somewhere or check into his wardrobes or whatever and see something, then conclude right away. There are husbands and wives whom one committed murder because of suspicion. And in the day of judgment, this will be a very big problem to him or to her. You suspect and you just conclude it. Now, among the things that make marriage very joyful is to admit and confess when you're wrong. Don't ever say, I'm always Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Or you can easily tell your couple, I am sorry. I'm the one that is wrong. Accept it. This is what Islam says. Another thing that makes marriage joyful is to make Prophet Muhammad ﷺ your role model. Some people make their friends their role models. Some people make their parents their role models. Some make some of their relatives their role models. Some novels, some magazines. Unfortunately, some films they watch, they make those as their role model. So it complicates everything and you put things upside down and inside out. And it makes marriage very uninteresting. And it even leads to divorce. Because maybe when this husband and wife had misunderstanding, she responded in a harsh way. And you made that person your role model. So this is how you respond. And the level at which one husband endures is different from another. So before you know it, it leads to a discontinuity of the marriage. Another thing that makes marriage very interesting is confidentiality. Avoid exposing secrets of one another. Don't say, no, she's my best friend. Don't say, no, she's my closest sister. Don't say she's my mother or he is my father. There are secrets that are there are no-go zone between a husband and wife. Because the Quran stressed the need, the kind of mithaq, a covenant between husband and wife, that nobody on earth should intervene except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is their maker. Now again, another thing that makes marriage interesting is to choose the appropriate time to discuss some issues. You may be annoyed, but he is also annoyed. So that's the wrong time for you to say, let's discuss this issue. No, it will complicate a lot of things. You can allow him to calm down or allow her to calm down. Then in a very, very subtle way, then you raise the issue as if it's not a serious topic. Then you discuss it as if it's just a joke. In most cases, it lasts. And that's why some people say, it is not the problem, the size of the problem between a husband and wife. It is how they approached the problem. The way you approach it makes it big or make it small. But so long as you have believed and you have agreed, you and her, that this is the formula we'll use in addressing issues, then each problem remains a small problem. Now again, another thing that makes marriage joyful is to learn the skills of renewing love. In Arabic, they call it fan tajdid al-hub, how to renew love between a husband and wife. And renewing love has many ways. You can say, let's remember those days when you were during the first phase of our marriage. It's about 10 years now, it's about 20 years. Let's remember those days about 19 years ago and the way we used to behave. Let's start writing love letters again. Let's start joking. Let's start praying. Let's bringing stories among ourselves. Another one is ability to know the way a man thinks and behaves. A man's way of thinking is different from that of a woman. He talks less. He is more concentrated. He concentrates more on action. And he can endure more, and he discusses later. So also, a woman should understand how, a man should understand how a woman thinks. She is very emotional. She wants immediate solution. Then lastly, we should know that men are colleagues of women.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Muhammad Isa Aliyu. Viewers, we will go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our discussion.